There was a community tab poll that I placed, and the winner was the 5 old anime that need a reboot, but I'm not finished with that, so for now you're getting the runner-up. Hello, I'm the Anime Hero, but you can call me Hero for short. My channel mainly consists of manly anime and vintage related material, but I haven't been that active. Actually, I didn't even realize how long it's been since my last real upload. In between then and now, my videos were just me playing games, but I did do a Sonic movie review, but I guess people didn't want to see that. The real question is, why was I gone? I think the simplest response would be, I needed a break. And I took a long one. I've been doing YouTube for 9 years and I constantly get mad at myself for not achieving more. To be honest, if I do ever get the silver play button, it wouldn't exactly make me happy. Subscriber count doesn't feel important to me, it's more of a case of acknowledgement through my videos, but that's something else. On the other hand, sometimes I want to do more with my life than just sit at the laptop and edit. I feel like I'm not taking advantage of my time. I'm not the most outgoing or extroverted person, but there are times when I want to leave the house and go somewhere. It was only in 2018 that I visited my very first local Comic-Con, and it was a good experience. I really wanted to go again in 2020, but then everything happened. There's no plans anymore. Let me go back to the months between October and December of 2019. Around that time, COPPA was going into effect, but more importantly, real life was hitting me. For the past 3.5 years or so, I've been attending family funerals, which affected my mood. It started when I made the Takeshi review back in 2017, and those feelings came back during the end of 2019. I learned stuff about the relationship about my father with his father, and it wasn't good. And that was my personal stuff, but in terms of YouTube, I just didn't have the will to make anything. For the first time in 8 years, I didn't do the 12 days of anime. I didn't even saw 12 different anime in all of that year. Around that period, I had no passion to watch anime, and this was before the funerals. For some reason, I've gotten dull towards Japanese entertainment and its representatives. I don't like how big anime YouTubers have gotten weebier. In the past few years, I feel dignity has been lost, not just with anime tubers, but with people in general. Everyone's at each other's throats. It's not about escapism, but more of a, I just don't like living or putting up with this current society. I may be a US citizen, but sometimes I don't feel like one. I received great frustration, but at least this helped in creating writing material. More on that later. But back to the subject of dull seasonal anime, there just wasn't anything stimulating for me. Years before, I brought this up a few times that the lack of manly anime has been troubling me. But it's not the lack of masculine ideals that was the entire problem. The totality of anime and people were severely losing their appeal. Maybe it's the repetition of genres or material not meeting my expectations. I haven't felt the same excitement as I did when I was in my young 20s. Maybe I've been in my comfort zone for too long and now I'm stuck there, requiring an abnormal amount of manly stimulus. What I started doing was experimenting with American geek culture ranging from films, cartoons, television shows, and action figures. Despite naming my channel after anime, I didn't grow up solely on Japanese animation, so I viewed this pursuit as a return to my past.
It's time to go back.
My favorite movies growing up were TMNT 1990, Batman 1989, and RoboCop 1987. Yes, I was a kid when I saw that. While I did see anime growing up, that was not the only content I had interest in. A lot of my movie exposure came from my parents' videotape rentals or what popped on TV. As for cartoons, I was very engaged with Beast Wars, Batman, Spider-Man, Gargoyles, Darkwing Duck, The Mask. As for Power Rangers, I managed to watch the series from Mighty Morphin all the way to Lightspeed Rescue. And I also saw the obligatory anime of Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon, and Digimon. Later in the 2000s, I started watching TMNT 2003, The Batman, Static Shock, Justice League, Jackie Chan Adventures, Teen Titans, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Sonic X, and Yu Yu Hakusho. Looking back, I didn't catch much of Samurai Jack, Rurouni Kenshin, or Batman Beyond. It was a little later when the anime craze officially settled in with the mainstream shonens of Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, and Death Note. Soon followed with Fullmetal Alchemist, Dragon Ball Kai, and the 1999 Hunter x Hunter, which was getting released at the time. It wasn't 2011 yet. Finally, the early 2010s was when my current interest started forming. With the usage of the internet, I was able to look up anime I never heard of. Manly anime, Fist of the North Star, Go-Go 13, Sakigake Otokujuku, Devilman, Kongo Bancho, Kiniko Man, Princess Tutu. What? Contrary to popular belief, I have seen non-manly anime. Even so, my passions do obviously lean on the masculine side of things. Why did I say that so femininely? Even so, my passions do obviously lean on the masculine side of things. But the point of all of those name drops, there are so many shows I haven't seen. Around 2018 to the present day of 2020 is when I started looking at cartoons before my time. I'm the same age as Sonic, meaning I was born in 1991, and so many IPs flew by me, and this applies to my hiatus/disappearance because I was distracted and busy looking up these things. So I watched He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, She-Ra, the Princess of Power, G.I. Joe, a real American hero, the real Ghostbusters, Thundercats, Ninja Turtles, and the Transformers, which I still haven't finished. There's a few other things I've seen and need to see, but I covered most of the essentials. A lot of my time was spent watching cartoons I never saw, and maybe it's a good thing I didn't experience them until now. If I was a kid in the 80s, there was no way my parents would be able to keep up buying every toy line for me. I'd probably be a spoiled child, actually. Speaking of which, my recent ventures with American cartoons and movies has led me to develop a moderate collection. There's veteran collectors dedicating entire rooms to their cherished toys, but I don't know if I'll ever go that far. Admittedly, there are series that I wish had toy lines, but they just don't. With the help of a toy line, Toriko could have been the #1 anime of the world, but that's a topic for another video. In summary, instead of watching seasonal anime, I ventured in old cartoons and movies. It made me feel better. This is an expensive hobby, but I just like having them and taking photos. But I wish they were cheaper and easier to obtain. I'm no expert by any means, but I feel this look at the past has opened doors for me, and I hope this can lead to something significantly important. One of my goals in life is to create my own series, and I have not let go of that dream. I've talked to Merlin the Mighty and Mr. Falcon Punch about the writing, and they seem pleased with my content. I've also shared a few character designs with my other friends, and reception is nice, but I want to make improvements, but something is holding me back. I used to like to draw, but then practices in college was just an awful time for me. There was stuff going on at home, and a lot of back and forth led me to just give up. I also realized how much I hated school. My father would say that he would hide under the bed to avoid going to school. Maybe his dislike for education runs in the family. The material that I came up with will be explored in a different video. For now, I just want to say that things have been moving almost a little too fast. Initially, I struggled with the structure, but lately everything has been falling into the right place, and the recent American programs have been very crucial to my development as a writer and artist. As a result of my exploration with Western media, I reached a new form of inspiration from an unlikely place, and that is Star Trek. I'm still a novice in my trek with Star Trek, as I've only completed content from the original series and the Next Generation. Initially, I wanted to take a break from watching more Star Trek, but then I completed Star Trek Continues, and I'm currently seeing episodes of Deep Space Nine. I don't know how deep I'll get into Star Trek, but I do know for certain what disaster I'll be avoiding. Star Trek's been turning the gears in my head, bringing forth creativity, as if I found the very thing that I was missing. I started drawing again, but admittedly, I'm very rough. Well, it also doesn't help that when you're drawing and listening to electric guitars, I just want to sketch these lines as I'm shading and I get caught in the rhythm of that guitar. Have you ever listened to the Needless soundtrack? The anime can get very ecchi and weeby at times, but the music is so investing. I need to get my flow back. I am shocked when I look at the original dates of certain designs. It's been that long. Revelations such as these makes me feel, wow, I've wasted precious time by not continuing what I started. At first, I like what I create, but I give it time and I start noticing, that's wrong. But then I flip back and forth, worrying too much of my self-criticism, rather than just doing it regardless of quality. There's many stories I want to make, and I'm constantly pushing myself back, so far back that I should have done this story 3 to 5 years ago, and I'd probably be done with it already. But no, I'm just too scared apparently, and then I start hating myself, and One thing is for sure, I like drawing sharp lines and edges, and that is perfectly fine. My style may fall under expressionism, but I do have an artist statement with these character designs. And that is to antagonize the current formats of American animation. Well, Japanese animation too, I guess. There's just a lot of Adventure Time copycats, skinny people, curved people, and I don't sense any visual creativity. There's some shows I like, but even then, I want an art style to stand out from the rest, and perhaps my work will be the one to do that. Star Trek was my exit from the comfort zone and boldly going where I never went before, being American science fiction, or more specifically, watching the world's quintessential sci-fi. Sure, I grew up watching Star Wars, but it never really bonded with me, but in the case of Star Trek, I did feel a connection, and I feel it's this franchise that has put me back on the right track. Maybe it's the humanitarian stories or its attempts of coexistence, but Star Trek has definitely become a crucial component to my newfound passion. If my recent feelings were about surrender, then my next step is to put another quarter in. I'm the anime hero. Actually, I don't know if that will always be my name. Thank you for your time.
Don't give up. Challenge again.